Guys, we'll be starting here in about 4 minutes. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Thank you. All right. Hey guys, thanks for taking time out of your schedule to join me tonight. Um, if you're not familiar with me, my name's Dave Horowitz. I've been doing this for 38 years. Um, and when I say this, I would say studying law, studying trust, studying everything I could get my hands on, looking for a way to separate myself from um, all that is this system in this world. Um, was tired of being micromanaged by bureaucrats. And basically, the Kingdom of Heaven Trust governance system is basically accumulation of my life's work. And this course that I'm going to be talking about tonight, operating in private as a trustee, um, is an advanced level course. Goes along with the Kingdom of Heaven Trust governance system. Uh, Later on, after I go through the presentation, I'm going to open up the curriculum and look at it so that you guys can see it. Um, and a little bit of the description of what this course is meant to do and who it's for. Again, this is a more advanced course. When I say it's a system for establishing, administering, and or administrating and defending your trust estates, that is presuming that you already have them, or at least have your establishing your estate and your trusts already. Okay, so yes, it is a standalone course. Yes, you could take this without the rest of it, but again, this is it fits into that trust governance system that I've been working on for a very long time. On that note, I'll get into it. I just want to bring to the attention here when I say separation, okay, that's recognized in a lot of the places that folks on this call are going to be listening in, or now or in the future. Those governments, those nations acknowledge. Okay, a lot of them claim to be under God, right? Well, a lot of them have, but they never read the Bible or their, that covenant. And it's not about religion. This is not a beginner course by any means. But when you understand that in Him we live and move and have our being, okay, we'll go around and an agent of government will say, "Where do you live?" And you'll go 123 Main Street, and you start giving up information, right? Or you make moves, buy houses, buy vehicles, buy property, have children, do all these other things, right? You make the moves, and you're not recording them. You are not, it's done haphazardly, and when we go into a court or have a situation where there's a challenge, right? We have a hard time figuring out or telling them who exactly we are. What capacity are they talking to you in? Anyway, these are a little bit more advanced concepts in this course. I'm going to move through this presentation, and then I'll open it up to some comments and questions at the end. And first, I have to get to the right screen. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Can you see that? Did it change?
Yeah, operating in private as trustee.
Okay. So, I know a lot of folks are looking to go private for a lot of different reasons. To be able to live free and to manage your own affairs or manage the things that God's entrusted to you, right? That takes discipline, that takes training, that takes effort, okay? If you're looking to hide assets, beat the system, looking for legal tricks or loopholes or, a document mill, that's not what this is about, guys, okay? It's about private governance, fiduciary discipline, okay, and operating a trust estate with authority that will stand or has standing in courts and out. Learning to operate that system as good trustees is what this course is about. And again, I said it's a little bit more in depth, the course, than, say, the course that we talked about if you were on the Monday seminar. That was more of a primer course. This is more advanced, okay? But most problems with modern trusts and why they fail, it's not because of the document, okay? It was most likely because of the trustees and their lack of experience, lack of knowledge on how to administrate. I hear people all the time, and I've had people ask me all the time, "Hey, can you make me a trust?" Sure. What's the purpose? What's the intent? What do you need it for? Oh, well, I heard that if I had a trust, I can get my my account and close out the Kiscavay Trust and do these different things. And the problem is they usually think that it's just this one trust. It's not about no single trust. Okay. And if you've taken any of the prior, any of the other courses, we had 3 seminars back in October. Those can be found within this group here in the media section. You can watch them in there. And those covered the foundational setting up of your trust estate, administrating your trust estate, and protecting and defending and bringing claims on behalf of your trust estate. So those are the foundational courses. through them, you'll be able to, write trust agreements, set up foundations and PMAs and things like that, administrate them, um, disperse uh, assets how they're supposed to be, set up trust and manage them. Okay. This course here, okay, um, is designed to get you active, okay, in managing your own affairs, okay, and to uh, some more advanced principles and concepts. Okay, but most trusts fail these days because most trustees act like they own the property. Um, their administration is informal, if at all. The records are incomplete, and courts are used as a crutch. They create uh, lack of administration is going to create a vacuum, and if you're not doing your administration and handling your trust matters, okay, then you may end up in litigation, which could have been avoided. Okay. They don't have an operating system. Okay. There's no, oh, okay, well, this is how, step one, step two, step three. This is what I need to do to record this deed or this action. Okay. This is used to create evidence. Okay. But a trust without governance, it is a liability. It's like knowing just enough to get yourself into a whole lot of trouble. Documents do not equal operations. Okay. I have a trust document. I'm protected, right? It sits in the drawer. It collects dust. And, if they had to bring it out to use it to defend themselves in a court situation, or if they, or to challenge any subject matter jurisdiction, if you don't understand what it's there for, what the purpose is, how to operate, it's like setting up a business just to have one. I'm the president of ABC Corp. What do you do? Well, nothing. What do you sell? Nothing. What do you offer? Nothing. That's what your trust document is if it's not a working document. Okay. It's like a business plan with teeth. Okay. So trusts fail in administration, not in the creation. You can create all the trusts you want. If you don't operate and administrate and keep your records correctly, they're basically open for attack, just like most folks are that don't have their estates ordered, right? They are basically in the world and acting as if they're of the world. There's no clear separation between the two, between you as a man or a woman and whatever state you find yourself in. So who runs your trust? When I say your trust, it's not one. There's a lot of different trusts. We establish them in the public. Again, this is not a beginner course or seminar for that matter. Who controls the decisions on any property in your possession that you may be the beneficiary of, right? If it's registered, then if it's registered to the public, then it's public property. They control the decisions. They're holding legal title. Who authorizes risk? Who documents actions, right? What are they doing in court when you get a traffic citation? It's an administrative action. They're keeping those records, right? Who answers for mistakes? If you don't know, the courts are going to decide. If you understand what you're doing and you structure yourself properly, the court isn't allowed to decide. It's ultra vires to them. It's outside of their jurisdiction, territorial or otherwise. Definitely subject matter. And that's the important one. Without subject matter jurisdiction, right, the court has no authority to hear the matter. So, trustee identity crisis, and this happens especially with folks who are new to living in private, and it's like learning a different language, right? You're learning things, what to do, what not to do. And the line is so fine when you start to step away from the system, and the system will come back with all kinds of offers, right? You'll start getting credit card offers and all kinds of stuff when you start to step away. Anything to drag you back in. But signing individually, speaking personally, acting emotionally, instead of just doing your job, acting in proper capacity. Making undocumented decisions, which means that if you're making decisions on behalf of your estate and you're not documenting them, then they never happened. And if somebody decides to say that it did happen and you have no way, no documentation proving that it didn't, you will lose, because equity looks at the intent. Okay? Trustees are stewards, not owners. I hear people talking all the time, and I'm guilty of it too. We're so used to going, that's my house, that's my kid, that's my car, my business, my whatever. And just by saying that alone can put you into a different jurisdiction. At the very least, it'll throw up a flag that says, hey, you're vulnerable here, because they're using their language. Capacity controls jurisdiction. In what capacity, right? Or quo warranto, what authority? Okay. Jurisdiction follows capacity, conduct, and consent. Right? Falls in line with most constitutions and, government rules, right? A government without the consent of the governed is invalid, right? Illegitimate. So jurisdiction does not follow your intentions, your beliefs, or even trust names. Whether that's your straw man trust, right? The all caps name entity, or any other. Okay? Most people, not just trustees, I say because most people don't even realize they are trustees when it comes to the relationships with others, with institutions and entities, as well as things. Okay, so most people enter jurisdiction accidentally. They don't know who they are. They have no idea what position they're being called into, and they think they all mold into one. That's not how it works. And that's, the courts love that. Why? Because they can step in and administrate, because there's nobody there doing it. You're out to lunch when it comes to doing administration for your own estate, your own private estate. You have to manage things in private. If you plan on pulling things out of the public to manage them in private, you have to learn how to manage them. Your trust can be challenged. They'll challenge, there's always going to be challenges from the state. Oh, you owe taxes for this. Well, I don't know. You have to pay this fee or get that license, or, oh, no, you can't have that in private. You've got to register it with the public. Okay, if you don't know and you don't have evidence showing that it is registered just in private, not in public, then, you're missing evidence that would clearly destroy subject matter jurisdiction. Where authority is unclear, they're going to step in and be the authority. People getting emotional, adversarial. Well, equity acts, right? How does equity act? Peacefully, right? When people are getting emotional and adversarial, the court loves adversarial proceedings. Lawyers make a fortune. Fighting continues indefinitely until somebody goes, this is ridiculous, and that's it, right? You've spent a fortune on lawyers and courts and wasting time when you had, if you just kept your records proper and did not look to litigate, in the first place. We don't want to litigate. We don't want to be in front of the world's courts. These people. The only reason that we end up there is because we don't manage our own affairs. And nothing I've seen out there in 38 years of looking gives you a way to manage those apart from the system itself. Any system, doesn't matter which government system, it allows you to step out of that commerce Babylonian system and actually live separate and apart. If you've ever been in the probate court, succession, right, is undefined. No will, no trust, no direction from the deceased, right? No looking forward to who's going to be managing it when you're gone. Disputes go unmanaged, right? People hiding. That's when court shows up, right? Somebody has a dispute, they go to the court. Most people nowadays, most companies for sure, will always run to the courts first. Okay? It's against their rules, right? They have not, and they may have exhausted all their administrative remedies. Because again, those are in administrative courts. They're administrating contracts, trusts. If it's not expressed, it's implied, it's constructive, and those things absolutely all day long end up in court, and people, even trustees that don't understand what's going on, will end up going there and succumbing to a foreign jurisdiction. Not going to get too much into details on defense and things like that in this call, but yes, we have answers for those things. All right. Sorry, guys. All right. So governance. When you're a trustee, you're governing, right? And the public, those public trustees, what are they supposedly doing? They're supposedly governing. Well, if you're governing in the private, you don't need to serve two masters, right? But where's the evidence of your governance? Decision protocols, risk analysis standards, asset isolation rules, enforcement procedures, planning, succession. Not just a succession, distribution. There's a lot of things that are recorded within the trust governing records. Okay. The administrative records. There's lots of different records that need to be utilized to provide the trustee proof. Why? Because that evidence protects you when it comes to going to court. It keeps you in equity, keeps you in the proper venue under the proper authority with subject matter jurisdiction. If you're doing it right, that's you. So, what is the Kingdom of Heaven trust governance system? Like I said, I'm excited about this because, I've started redoing all the courses. Actually, I have redone them all. The last one was completed with upgrade and expansion last night of the 3 foundational courses. That gives a complete operating system for trust estates that governs identity, capacity, assets and investments, administration and enforcement, and succession and legacy. Okay. Again, this is not just a document that you're going to fill out and go, oh, I got to trust, and you manage it by the seat of your pants. It's not going to help you with the remedies that you're looking for. You've been looking for remedies in those public, constitutions, statutes, codes, and opinions of those calling themselves judges. We're not supposed to be participating. We're supposed to manage our own affairs. So it's a complete operating system for trust estates that govern pretty much everything that within your the umbrella of what you would call your affairs. It's built on stewardship, not ownership, right? You probably heard the term manage everything, own nothing, or own nothing, manage everything, control everything. Private ordering means you're not being ordered around outside or externally, not dependent. You are not a ward of the state. You're not a minor. You're not considered a minor or dependent. Records, not recollection. Oh, I remember it. Don't worry. Not going to hold up in the court. Administration before litigation. How to do this? How to handle things in the private without bringing things into a public arena. And a trustee's role is preservation of the estate, not profit. Okay, and it's thinking generationally, not, what can I have today? So preservation, that's a key here in this course, and we talk about investing, okay? And we'll get into that here in a minute. So the governing system forces fiduciary discipline, okay? And hopefully some of the folks that are on this call that are in some of the courses can after we're done here, speak to, how it flows and how it actually does that. Okay, it gets you to act. The course gets you to act. It gives you things to do constantly, step by step, so that you're actually able to see how it's used practically in your day-to-day. Okay, it prevents accidental liability through record keeping, produces court-defensible records, automates trust administration logic, how to administrate, as things come up, or from the public to the private, and it preserves continuity across trustees, succession. So when when you're done and you're turning it over to your children or your children's children to manage, okay, these are things that you can do now that you can't do after you're gone, right? So it actually is set up to do that throughout these courses, leaving a legacy, okay? Setting up something that's not going to collapse the second you do. So, like I said, we're going to get into investing a little bit here in the seminar, in this call. Trustees are not investors, okay? Do they invest? Yes, but it's different. I've worked in finance for a lot of my years, and worked with lots of investors, and it's not investing in the sense of, I'm going to get a high return, right? The highest return usually equals the greatest risk, but that's not the intent for trustees investing. They're not investing their own money. They don't have a right to gamble with trust funds. Okay, so in a way, yes, you have to, you don't want things sitting around collecting dust, right? They either are assets that are assets, or they're liabilities. Okay, but it's a little bit flipped than the way a public, like if you were a stock trader or into some of these different things, you have to look as a trustee from downside first analysis. Okay, you're going to look at what is all the downsides, what could happen, how much could I lose, how much, not that you're going to lose, how much can the trust lose. Okay, capital preservation, defined exits, collateral control. If all this sounds foreign to you, folks that are in the investment community and estate planning and things like that, this is what they discuss and talk about. It's a different way of looking at it as a trustee, as, managing and being fiduciarily responsible for someone else's property and benefit. Okay. There's a big difference between that and going into your own pocket and taking out what you've worked for and investing it and taking that risk. Okay. And documentation of that prudence is, that you've done your due diligence during times of investment. Then when you make an investment, it's just like anything else. You record what happened. What, how did you do a downside first analysis, right? Does the investment have defined exits? Who owns the collateral? Who holds the collateral? Does anybody hold the collateral? Okay. These are things that are taught in this course, operating private as a trustee. Okay. We do get into creative finance, some trust safe strategies, seller financing, lease options, doing secured private notes, royalty income, asset leasing. We start to look at how do you look outside the system to accomplish the same thing? That's super important. And if you can't get it outside the system, how far into, debt slavery are you going to go in the public? How can you go into the public without putting your own personal name, which is no longer yours if you're going through these courses and setting up, your estates, starting with that straw man. And that's no longer yours to use. It's the estate's. Okay, so personal guarantees are handled differently. You're not wanting to set up partnerships in the way that the system sets up partnerships, right? Creative finance done correctly keeps you from regulatory entanglements, personal guarantees, and liabilities, personal liabilities. Again, with ownership comes responsibility. So, asset protection, right? What assets and how do you define assets? Is it just what's in your bank or, the pieces of property and things that you own? Or does it include your relationships? And then you'd look at structuring, separation, documentation, and discipline. If you can do those things as a trustee, your assets are as protected as they can be, short of somebody coming in with a gun and putting it to your head and demanding them. And then you have another choice. But this is not secrecy. It doesn't require secrecy. It requires privacy. It requires not opening your mouth and making all your private stuff public. Okay, it's not complex, guys. It's much so. It's simple. It's not easy, and you'll hear me say it a lot. It's simple. The concepts, the principles, the content. It's simple to follow. It's spelled out bite by bite, step by step. Yeah, I don't know in this course whether I even acknowledged a lot of the internet myths that I've come across over the last 4 decades. But I think as you get into it and start to understand what it is and how it works, a lot of those myths will fall away, and what may be worth looking into would be exposed, and you'd be able to see it much more simple. All right. So obviously this is the kingdom of heaven trust governance system. So why does biblical stewardship matter? the Bible's a governance manual. It's instruction. Torah itself means instruction. What everybody in the Christian world calls the law, the Torah, right? Torah means instruction in Hebrew. Okay? It's not about law. It is law. It's God's law. Okay? But it's there to instruct us, not to subject us. Okay? It gives us instruction on how to be stewards of what it was entrusted to us. We don't own it. If you think you do, try taking it with you when you go. And if you've ever got, if anybody that you know closely, a parent or, and you had to deal with the courts and the probate system, the way I look at these courts, they're either probating the dead entity, that all caps name, okay, or they're administrating the bankruptcy that they've been in for over 100 years. All right, their fiat system. So the Bible is a governance manual, and we've got courses. I talked about. Actually, I haven't done a seminar on the newest one, but those who are in the other courses now, we're able to preview and get that course. But what it's done is I've taken the principles out of the Word. Not from it, not out of it. I didn't replace them, and strictly took the principles there and the instruction and tried to make it simple to understand in a, yes, it's an ancient system, but it's just as relevant right now in managing our affairs and giving us the authority to do so without permission from Uncle Sam or the Crown or wherever you find yourself, giving you their blessing for you to go and, manage your own affair. It doesn't work that way. So accounting, right? We're all going to have to account. Trustees are required to account for what they did in their stewardship, what they did with the property while it was within their trust. Authority is always delegated, okay? It's delegated. It's a very important principle. Consequences are enforced. Inheritance is preserved. And it literally does. Modern trust law mirrors this ancient stewardship. The only difference is it replaces God with themselves. Give you a simple, perfect example. James 4:12. There's only one lawgiver and one judge. Who are you to judge your neighbor? Well, ask the same question when you go into court next time. So, the full course, 40 lessons, deals with trustee identity and capacity, which also would mean authority. Private trust administration, fiduciary investing, creative finance, asset ring fencing, which is fencing your assets so that if one is attacked, they don't domino and take everything. So structuring, distributions and beneficiaries, enforcement and succession, multi-generational legacy, okay, and how to preserve it, and all the documentations to affect those things. Okay, it's not a theory course. You get a full operating framework, all the tools, decision matrices, verbatim sign-ready templates. It is a complete administrative system, and it is an operator's course. It is not for beginners. If this is the first you're hearing about private trust, the call that we had on Monday is a good place to start. And then take a look at the 3 foundational seminars that are in this group or on the website. The full seminars are there for you to listen and learn. But again, this is not a beginner's course. Who should take the course? Trustees, people already operating or are working on getting to a place where they're operating their own affairs, right? Families with estates or land. ministers, faith-based stewards, estate planners and advisors, entrepreneurs holding assets in trust. Okay. This is not for shortcuts, not for I'm looking for a document called a trust so that I can try some ridiculous remedy I heard online. Save your money, guys. So, where do we find ourselves in court? Usually where there's a dispute that hasn't been handled outside of court. Okay. Managing your affairs, having all your ducks in a row, not the week before you go to court, not the day before court. You can't tell you how many calls over the years I've gotten on a Friday at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. Hey, I got court on Monday. Can you help me? Sure, I'll say a prayer for you and hope it goes well. What, you know, uh, surprises come because we're not prepared to handle them. This puts your estate, the things that are within the scope of your trusts, whether it be business, marriage, children, vehicles, properties, all kinds of things. Okay. If they are within the focus of your trust estate, okay, managing those things, creating a chain of evidence, okay, that this is not being managed by someone who doesn't know what they're doing. So, uh, yeah, let me see here for a second. I'm going to try to stop screen sharing, and then I'm going to reshare here another screen. Give me 1 second. How do I? What happened? Okay. Anybody familiar with this?
You're just trying to get another screen up to share?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to share another screen. Can
Oh, where's brother
anybody?
when you need him?
Let me try something else. Sorry, guys. Give me a second here. I wanna share a different screen. Let me try something. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Good. I'm gonna try and do this on my phone here. Got to log in on my phone first. Give me 1 second. I'm almost there.
All good. just wanted to quickly add before David gets that is the practical is super important, so that we learn how to do it ourselves. And the assignments are key and really, really good for us as you go along. When practicing, being a trustee or a good steward.
All right. Give me 1 second here. It's about to open, and I'll be able to go through and show you. Okay. Screen share. Start now. Can you see that?
Kingdom of Heaven Trust Governance System.
Yes. So this is the course description, guys. I'm not going to read it, but I'll go slow enough and read it to myself so that you can read it. Also, if you're listening to this seminar, you can go to the website at www.bulletproofsolutions.org, sign up for a free membership, then shoot me an email. I'll have my email up at the end. Shoot me an email letting me know you signed up for the free membership and that you heard it on this call, and I will open that up to a premium membership, the platinum membership, until the end of February, so that you can get in there, look at the library. There's tons and tons of books in there that you can use to, further your education for download. You'll be able to see the courses and the curriculums, very similar to what I'm showing you here on the screen right now. I know some folks read faster than others, and I'm trying to go slow here. And I'll go back and just show you the curriculum as well. So you can take a peek and how it's laid out. This is actually the curriculum for the course. So you can see we do discuss a lot of more advanced topics and strategies.
Is this course also independent study, or is this instructor led?
It is a little bit of both, in that you go at your own pace within the framework of the course. So you set the pace. We get together, student only. We have a Thursday call, and that call goes as long as it needs to answer questions and discuss these principles and things that we're going over in these different courses. There is probably, as the student base grows, we'll probably expand that out a little bit. As I can't expand myself too much, but where those that are proficient in these course topics and the courses themselves maybe could sit in and run other nights of the week. But for now, yes, we do a Thursday call, and we go through and discuss what you're learning in these courses, go over practical use, answer questions. So in that respect, you don't just get the course and left alone. There's a bunch of folks on here that I know are in the courses. Anybody in here that would mind maybe discussing how we handle that and how the self-paced online portion works? Doesn't require, I kind of put it into bite-sized pieces. And then the Thursday call is for kind of refining your understanding.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what you just said, Brother David. You get yourself set up, and then you go at your own pace. And on Thursday, you ask any questions that come to mind or that you've written down, and we discuss it, and we shoot it back and forth with each other. David clarifies things for us, and we chime in, and we help each other out. We're all brothers and sisters, and to better understand what we're taking in. And it's super awesome that we can get together on Thursday. And then, of course, there's the Sunday covenant or Bible studies, which is super important. We need to know our covenant and our, that it all comes together and coincides. And it's super important to ask questions. And Thursday is great for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And students have access to me via text and email as well. But I usually try to defer most questions to the Thursday night calls for the students because if you've got questions, most likely somebody else would have that question as well. And all of those calls are recorded and available to students within that group. And they're available. Any new students that go into the Thursday group have access to that, to all of those calls. So you can go in at your own pace and start back from the very first one and get yourself current. There's a lot of material covered in those previous calls. The average is probably about 2 to 2.5 hours is average call on a Thursday. Sometimes we go 3 and a few times longer than that. So my goal is that you guys get the material, and like I said, I'm trying to make that easier even as we go. So from October till now, I've already revamped and upgraded the foundational courses, all 3 of them. And so they're consistent. I was building these courses for a number of years and setting them up, putting together the content, getting, the stuff that I've been learning for the last 38 years out of my head and down on something that would be useful for others. And I can actually someday soon go fishing instead of thinking about, courts and how to deal with, foreign government systems. And I say foreign because if you're on and have your mic on, please mute unless you're talking, guys. It just comes through on the recording. But if you have a question, please feel free to ask.
Thursday night calls are on Telegram as well.
They are. And Tom, I know you just signed up for a course, so shoot me an email, just remind me, and I'll get you a link to the Thursday call. And that's private. That's strictly students only. There's a lot of other benefits once you start getting into the courses where you have use of an AI that we've been training for the last couple of years. And I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it's a great training aid as well as analyzing documents, analyzing cases, analyzing, crazy internet guru remedies to see if they're, vapor or something of substance. This thing is designed to scour practically every jurisdiction in very specific locations for firsthand information. It was designed originally, I don't know if Mike was on here or not on this call, but to do like a mock court situation and to mimic a mock court. It can do that and so much more. But that's also one of the benefits of getting into these programs and these courses is access to that. Just that alone will help you increase your knowledge base and how to operate in equity outside of these system boundaries that have been put up for us because we've been born into their system and we've, operated Pinocchio as Geppetto, acting as if it's a little boy, and it's not. It was a legal fiction that we've been, managing and operating as if it was us ourselves.
Got to learn to take the strings off.
Yeah. Well, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I argued as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. We have to put away childish things. We have to learn to manage our own affairs, to have standing so that when they call you in to the magistrate's office, you can stand there confident because you've got all the evidence and things that you need to, at the very least, challenge the jurisdiction in the first place, which should be a first thing. If you're on this call and you're new to this information or to what I've been sharing in these seminars, subject matter jurisdiction, real simple. But if the court doesn't have it, they cannot administrate it. And I'm sure I know there's enough people on this call that have been through these courses and have heard me talk plenty of times. What is subject matter? And who has authority over it?
I remember the first, long ago, the first thing I learned was, yes, dear. That got me in a lot of trouble.
Well, subject matter is property of a trust. Now put it into perspective in the public. The court has subject matter jurisdiction over this traffic infraction because, look, there's a license, so there's a matrix with their trust. It shows there's a contract with the trust for that specific property, right? Subject matter. The car. Oh, the car was registered into that trust as well. And you got their permission slip, their license to use it. You're already tied to it. You're bound to it some way. Now, how you handle it is a whole other story. And that's what these courses are designed to do, and not just handle traffic tickets, but all the issues that I've heard of over the years that people have come to me saying, hey, the state took my family, my kids. I'm going through a crazy divorce. I've got a business that's being sued or all these different things. I got tickets. I've got, arrested for this or that. And, and then people go scouring through the codes and the statutes and the thing, trying to find a remedy to get you out of this predicament, right? Circumstance where you're being administrated. And that's all that's going on. You signed up, you entered into the trust, and now you're being administrated. Your stuff is being administrated, and you signed up as the surety for it unknowingly. You were joined. And if you weren't, just a couple words out of your mouth in the courtroom could get you joined. Yep, that's me. Is so-and-so present? Oh, yeah, that's me. Well, welcome to the party. You just got joined. Being in the proper capacity, wearing the wrong hat. These are all things that people are doing, and they don't even realize it, that one simple word could mean the difference of, going home that evening and enjoying your own bed or sleeping on a cement slab and, in a very cold cell. And there's a lot of folks that know just enough to sound like a sovereign citizen, and then the next thing you know, you're, spending a day or two in jail because you didn't know how to manage your affairs on the side of the road. You said something that made them presume, or you did something, registered something, right? Or violated one of the things in their statutes, which may or may not pertain to you. Most likely it doesn't pertain to you if you're private, definitely pertains to you if you got a public plate and a public driver's license, that you've got these things. And there's lots of ways to handle those things. We talk about operating those things at arm's length through proper administration. And separation was one of the things we talked about earlier. Very, very, very important to separate your things from the public. You do that through administration, proper administration. Once you start to understand, the fears go away. Standing there in front of of an interloper claiming to be God. If they're claiming to be a judge or a lawmaker, they're claiming to be God over you. When I say that it mirrors the system, it's just a distorted image. They take God out of the equation and they put themselves in. You can't do this, unless the Crown says it's okay, or Uncle Sam says it's okay, or wherever you find yourself. Most of the time, you're flying under the radar because you're not out there publicly. You don't put yourself out there publicly. These are all things that, we learn in these courses, and that's why I put this management system together. And they said, if anybody who's hearing this wants to get into, go to the website, sign up as a free member, I will upgrade it to a full membership so you can go in and look at all the curriculums and all the courses, and go into the do-it-yourself library. And there's, quite a few hundred books in there that you can download and read it to your heart's content. And like JP said earlier, we do have a Sunday call, Walking the Covenant, and that's free for you to join as well. Friday, we're going to be doing a call, same place, same time, 6 p.m. Mountain here. One of the things, a lot of the things that people come to me for over the years, this is the one that hurts me the most in dealing with those situations when the state comes and, deals with CPS and Parents Patriae, and how to effectively get your offspring back and out of that system by using equity to do the right thing, because it's the right thing to do. Simple, but not easy. And again, we'll have a call on Friday about a course that explains and exactly how to do that from a trust, private perspective. On that note, I'm going to open it up for anybody that has any questions.
I just want to say I'm super looking forward to that one, because Megan and I have been dealing with those crooks at Children Family Services. It's CPS, but it's called CFS here in Alberta, and that's the whole reason why not just believing in God and a follower of Yeshua and His covenant, but just to get ourselves out of that public tyranny. But questions, anyone? Sorry about that.
Hi, David. It's another David.
Hi, David.
Hey, thanks so much for your time on all this. I really appreciate hearing your insights. My question is, so I got to the starting page, the sign-up page on your website, and I read through the terms and conditions, and I thought they were very thorough and good. My only question is, so there's a certain penalty for use of material like out of context, so to speak. I should quote this verbatim to do justice to it. But my question was, in a system that has template ready documents, but there's also an injunction to not use them without permission, and not to use them
for sale.
Okay, for sale. Okay, so my question is, like, how restrictive is that use?
I mean, you're going to use them obviously to manage your own affairs and to run your own estate. it's not for resale that you're going to
Okay.
grab my stuff. I've been at this a very long time. So, and for years, ever since the internet came out, I'd find documents that I wrote through, from time to time out there.
Yeah. Okay.
And not, that doesn't even bother me, especially if it's changed. I really could care less, other than, again, I'd be stupid as a trustee to not put a warning for reselling my materials.
Okay, so unauthorized use is essentially that, or that's the biggest
The big,
infringement.
yes, resale, stealing it to resell, taking it to resell.
Okay, yeah, no, my only concern was that my own personal use would somehow conflict with the restrictive use, and I just wanted to know if there was but that clarifies it. Sale is very
Yeah, if it's sales and things like that, it's just not to be out there for commercial use. It's private between the parties, and everything in the website is private between the parties. If you sign up as a member, you're in a PMA. You've got benefits and protections, and so does the PMA itself. So, and that's something that I've had to remove people from courses because they were found blatantly untrustworthy, and I don't like doing that. I'm teaching trust, and if the intent of learning trust is to be untrustworthy or to, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Kind of goes against the grain. So I'm looking to have people who are trustworthy around me, the same way I wouldn't enter into a contract with somebody I don't trust. And that's a starting place. And again, it's a private contract between the parties. And my biggest reason for that is people stealing intellectual property. There's nothing out there like what I've put together, at least nothing that I've been able to find over the last 40 years or so, 38 years that I've been looking. I was a certified financial planner in New York in the early 90s. I've been doing trusts, setting up corporations and operating at arm's length through public corporation and public entities or legislated entities like LLCs and corporate structures. But I've been doing this for a very, very long time. It's not, I don't know, you guys be the judge of the information itself. I don't pull back. I don't hold anything back from my students. Usually if I'm asked a direct question, I try to answer it in full. Like I said, I'm not a document salesman. I found that there is a major lack in this on this planet for clear direction on how to manage your affairs and to keep them separate from this world system. I basically was looking, like a lot of folks early on, to stop getting my pocket picked every week. But that was just the beginning, and that's minor compared to all the things that governments try to control in our lives on a day-to-day basis. And having to think about who's going to be running this system. I don't care. I really don't. Doesn't make a difference who's running the system, because I have my own that I follow, and that choice, who I'm going to serve, is my choice. If it isn't, then let's go. Take me to whatever highest court you have, because we've got a slave case.
Excellent. Thank you for the perspective, and thanks for clarifying that. That answers it for me. I really look forward to exploring more, and I've learned a lot just listening to a couple of interviews.
And if you're a consultant, and you're learning, I got no problem. Share share the principles, share the concepts to your heart's content. Get people to, clean their own house instead of worrying about everybody else's. Because if people really took care of their own, the busybody stuff of government would go away. So, yes, and again, David, as far as that goes, if it sounds like it's somewhere on the could be, or you're questionable on it, whether or not you can use it some way, shoot me an email. I'm happy to discuss anything where you're if you need to use something in a way that you're not sure if it violates the PMA.
Excellent. Thank you. That's great. That's all I need to know. Thank you so
My
much,
pleasure.
David. Really appreciate your time and your insight. Like I said, I have so much. I'm a sponge.
We got lots of material to sponge. Lots. Like I said, we've got this. The Thursday call's been going on about a year now. As I slowly introduced the courses over the course of the last year, but kind of a big one in October. But yeah, there's a lot of recordings from students over the last year. A lot of good material starting in there. And then each course that you do, even the course that I spoke about on Monday, which is really just a short primer, 20 lessons. It is work intensive. It's action based. It gets you to take steps to putting things together, not just recreational reading for to understand a concept. It'll and it spells it out as if you're a beginner, but the information is advanced. If that makes any sense. And it's spelled out for a beginner.
No, I've found that when it's necessary to test new knowledge against my comprehension of it, and if I can't say it myself in different words, or if I can't answer a question about it, then I know I haven't digested it well enough yet, and need another angle.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So I love being able to have someone with knowledge put it out there, because what I find is that even someone with knowledge, it's hard to get the knowledge. It's like it can't even be given to somebody directly. There's a process of translation when somebody comprehends or does not comprehend this stuff. And for me, I've heard lots of information, but the
usable.
The crystallization of it in my own head as a go-to, as a reliable structure of knowledge, is slower to appear.
Well, and this is why the way I laid it out and redid the three foundational courses is I took a year's worth of comments and suggestions from people that were going through the courses, and I revamped the three foundational courses that also used to be 40 lessons like this course. Now they're 60 plus, and because I want people to be able to understand it. I want a kindergartner to be able to figure it out. If someone can read, even at a low level, new words, new things are spelled out. They're defined. And I try to move it in a way that is little bites, but big ideas.
That's a good description.
I just wanted to add, David Benjamin. Yeah, because the way he structures it is like, and I've said this before, like I wish, that I would have known this growing up in school, right? But we now being older, you have to unlearn what you've been lied to about and relearn the truth. And it kind of sucks doing it when you're older. So it can be daunting, you know what I mean, of course, and then there's a time factor too. If you have to work and all that other jazz too, it makes it seem daunting. So the way David has it, like you said, kindergartner can understand it. But we have to take that responsibility to learn it, regardless. And otherwise, we would have been force fed this truth at an early age rather than the the false or the lies or the crud that we don't need growing up in the adversarial system. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's where it's nice to be a part of. Call you guys my brothers and sisters. In the Lord, and just learning this stuff is it could take a lot of willpower, right? But God gave us that willpower, and we need to willfully learn it. Like I feel like we have to, Megan and I, we have to, for our son's future. And I wish I would have known it before. All this stuff happened to me with the courts, but there's a reason why God does things, and we kind of have to, and that's what we're here for, is each other. And it's great.
It is also a self check. Again, trusteeship starts with ourselves, guys. Anybody who's had kids, try managing them, even after, they're okay. The day they're born, you can't even manage your own sleep, because there are these other added responsibilities. We end up, getting into things. Now, that's something that's entrusted to us, right? A child, a vehicle, a house, a property of some sort, a business. These are things that we're entrusted with that, are within our purview. My neighbor's stuff is not within my purview. The guy across the street, the woman down the way is not in my purview. What they do is not my business. My business is managing my own affairs because there's enough to do there. And if you think about that, if you could get that down, then maybe you'd be qualified to manage someone else's affairs. Maybe you'll be a trust manager for others' trusts. But again, even that, okay, it's a lot of responsibility, and doing it properly without commingling and getting in trouble doing it is even harder without the right knowledge and the right systems in place to be able to do it. There's a lot to learn, and setting it into bite-sized sections. And I don't know if you really got a good look at the way the curriculum lays out in different phases, right? Different modules. And each module covers a set of principles and ideas and documentation and things like that go along with it. At the end, you have a manual for management, for administration. Or setting up a trust estate, depending on whatever trusts you need, whether you need a management trust or you need a asset holding trust, or you want to start a PMA or a foundation, or any number of reasons or purposes and intentions that you could use for setting up new trusts. Learning how to administrate those things, day-to-day administration, but also to take inventory of what's been managed by others that should be being managed by you, and how to take it out from their management by simple notice. So there's a lot to it, guys. This is not a overnight fix for your problems. It's a long-term fix for your problems.
Yeah.
I've read over the years thousands of law books from all around the world and all different times. When you get into the website and you start looking at my library, that's just a digital library. When I left New York years ago, I had a room full of books, stacks and stacks, because there was no internet when I started studying this stuff. A for V and all these other things that people hear about wasn't around. It was in books. Usually those books were banned, hard to find.
And can I just add, think about, like, very relevant to what David's saying. Think about, you have to put in the time to learn it, like he said. And think about the time we were forced into learning in 12 long years of the adversarial lying system with school. You know what I mean? They pound it into you over, make you go do homework, practical, right? Action, and over and over and over and over, right? So we need to do this with the proper stuff over and over and over and put it into practice, ask questions, learn, and absolutely.
Asaya, did you want to speak to what you're seeing in the revamped courses as well as the courses that you've taken? Basically, the learning style. I tried to set it up, guys, so that it, if you're a visual learner or, an audible learner, or a hands-on learner, you can figure this out. Go ahead, Asaya. Can't hear you.
Brother Asaya. I don't hear him at all. Oh, he's having microphone problems.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to step off and then step back on. That might fix it. I know if I get a call during one of these things, it usually kicks off my audio.
He would have a lot to say, Brother Saya. I can't speak for him, but he's rocking.
He's getting into the courses for sure. There's other folks that are on here maybe that are also into some of the courses already. I know I'm looking here, and I think Asaya is the furthest one in on this group, maybe. Not 100% sure. No, Candido would probably be further along.
Yeah, Candido and Sister Conte.
Yeah. I think Tante is going through, I think, the first course now. Either way, I mean, anybody, if you can explain. Yeah, Tante, you saw the course prior to its revision and after. Is it easier to follow and actually get to work now than it was before?
Yeah, I have to say, I'm a very slow reader, so I read and I don't have, most of the time I don't have to read it a second time, but to me they are different. The new one is more structured, and you can compare that with the one before, and the original version was, how can I say that? I would know that in my language. It was like a story reading, the first one, whereas the second one is just structured, sometimes not really with sentences, so you just read facts. But it's nice. It's nice. I'm going through that one where, I stopped reading the original one and then started over with the second one, and I'm almost through with that one.
Awesome. How are you doing the exercises?
The exercises I have to skip I have to be honest, I skipped though. In my head when I'm reading that one, I could write this ones down in my head, but as I said, I'm reading so slow, I would come nowhere if I would do those ones in between too. But the second reading, that's what I said when I'm doing the exercises. I just want to have, get whatever I can get out of those ones, and after that
get an overview first and then go back and do the work.
Yeah.
I do that a lot myself, just to get a general overview. each lesson is designed to have work that you do at the end. And it's not work as a four-letter word, work. They are, if you look at it as deeds, right? Trust without deeds is dead, or faith without works is dead. Same thing. And in the original translation, it is trust without deeds. Okay, deeds. It's not just works, it's deeds, like our actions. And each course, each class is designed to have some action afterwards to get you to actually start doing it, putting it together from class one all the way through.
Dave, my audio is working now.
Hey, there you are. Go ahead. Good
Yeah,
to
I
see you.
switched to my phone. Yeah, great call. This course looks really good. Yeah, the assignments that David put in the new revised courses are a game changer. One of the big problems that exist in all the different courses that we can take is you take in a lot of material in your mind. You know, you got a person who's, you know, representing that they know a lot of stuff, and they're saying it and it sounds amazing, and you're like, whoa, that's awesome. And then you go to try and actually repeat it, and all that comes out of your mouth is just a bunch of babbling. And there's a need for our brains, our human brains, to be able to exercise the knowledge as we learn one concept at a time. And David's put these assignments at the end of each lesson, you know, and they're talking about like 50 lessons per course. So this is a lot of concepts building incrementally. And he introduces the concepts in all these different frameworks. It's very effective. It explains it better than anything I've seen yet. And I'm just stoked to actually have a teacher who can actually teach. And then says, okay, now apply this by doing this and this and this. And it almost kind of feels like, you know, what am I in grade 2 here? Why am I doing an assignment? But literally, he's walking us through building our own estates. And I even noticed that in the revised courses, he's shying more away from giving us everything as a template and getting us more to understand how to build our own template based upon the core foundational principles and concepts that underlie, you know, what the template is already representing. Because again, when we just receive something and we don't actually exercise our brains into the creating of that thing, we don't understand it properly. And in order to live this stuff, you have to be able to fully integrate it into your mind so that you can speak it, you can repeat it, and it's not just information coming in one ear and going out the other. And I just love that. And it's a total pain in the ass. I hate doing the assignments, but I started doing them, and right away I got this list of things I don't get. And it's just like, wait a minute, I just did this assignment, you know, but it's like simple things, and breaking the whole concept of trusts down into the concept of interfaces and the concept of relationships. And wow, it just blows my mind, because ultimately all this stuff is really, really simple. The reason it's called trusts is it's because it's based upon relationships and trust within relationships between people. That's ultimately what this is all about. And then these legal structures are there to almost compensate for the fact that sometimes trust breaks down between people. And so you've got a trust in case you don't have trust. And really getting it at that level starts to take these really complex structures and make them really simple. And I definitely commend David for that. There is no other teacher who is able to transmit this depth and breadth of information as effectively as he is. I've been hunting for a long time for this.
Booyah! Well said, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I you know, I can only say that I put these together to make this simple to present, to consume, and to actually put to use. I'm not going through these courses as a student, but I've been using these most of my adult life to manage my affairs and use, whether it be at arm's length for specific purposes or to protect anything from public intrusion. It's a lot easier to challenge subject matter jurisdiction than it is to argue about, who did this, who did what, where, when, how, and expect somebody who you wouldn't trust to, babysit your children or your grandchildren to make a decision as to how your life's going to end up at the end of, the argument. That, to me, leaves way too much for a man or a woman to decide. They're playing God. So I try not to stand for that. And when you have standing, it's easy to go in and simple challenge to the subject matter jurisdiction. Thing is if you're properly administrated, they won't find you in their records in the way that there's a matrix or that you are subject to one of their commercial or trust contracts, because you'll have collapsed or rescinded them properly. And you manage your own affairs. You're basically putting your life under new management and a new governing structure under different law. You'll answer to a higher authority. I'm under judge's orders. Sorry, it's already been ruled on. Here it is. 100% defensible. And I've never found anything like that in all the law books and or from any of the so-called gurus over the years. I've talked to and listened to many experts on the UCC and IRS codes and constitutional law, and I've worked with a lot of them, and I see no benefit, no value in the system. And it's hard to see value in a trust that has no assets. It's bankrupt. And that's where morally and fiscally or financially bankrupt. I don't care where you're at. You are in a fiat system. It is bankrupt. Morally bankrupt, which is why it's run by statutes, and fiscally, financially bankrupt, because they've literally replaced the value with IOUs that'll never get paid. So you start to look at different perspectives the more you learn. And you learn pretty quickly that you can manage these things. You don't even need to know this stuff to know that even in a very limited way, you could manage your own affairs if you needed to, right? Even without the structures, you can handle your day-to-day. Most of you do it anyway. But every once in a while, a few times a year, every Friday when you get your paycheck, you're seeing interactions, interfaces that have holes in them that are leaking. And your estates are being turned over left and right, back to the Crown, back to Uncle Sam, back to whoever's, running your madhouse where you live. Learning to shield, to fortify your estate so those leaks don't happen. And then when there's an interloper trying to scale the wall somehow, you've got the evidence you need to keep them out of your subject matter. Subject matter is the property owned by a trust. It's the trust res, the corpus, the body of assets held in trust. Right? And the only one that has subject matter jurisdiction over trust property is a trustee over that trust, that specific trust, barring all others from that administration. And if you can prove that you are administrating it just fine without them and that they have no right, a right is an ownership interest, like a legal title might be an ownership interest. It's not ownership, but it's the right to regulate. The trustee has a right to regulate on behalf of the grantor settlor. And a simple little 3-party arrangement, and it could be more, but a simple 3-party arrangement, a grantor, a trustee, and a beneficiary, you've got yourself a trust. Real simple. Now, structuring and managing that trust could be, 10 pages, 50 pages, 1,000 pages, depending on what it's doing, what its intent and purpose is. Can be amended from time to time if it's a business trust or, that's growing. Something new comes in that hasn't been managed before. It needs to be managed in its own way. So again, and it's not just, well, where can I go buy a trust document that'll fit this, situation? It's so much easier to understand how it works and create your own, because then you got a custom fit. And you're not, depending on what somebody else's supposed knowledge of trust is, including my own. I'm sure I don't know it all. I know a lot of it because I've been doing it for a very, very long time. But I'm sure I don't know everything. I'm sure I forgot more than I probably know. That's what happens when you get old. But anyway, any other questions, guys, before we wrap it up?
Hi. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead, Monica.
All right. I have a question about the PMA also that we signed.
Okay.
I had emailed you a while back and kind of disclosed that my family will be walking around and probably hearing what we discuss, and if that was going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's no problem, because to tell you the truth, I mean, I have folks that call me and go, if I order this, well, is it okay if my husband or my wife, or do they have to get their own? Your trust is your family unit. That's within your trust estate. I look at that as a private thing. Now, if you're going to go and start a group where you're going to invite friends from all over to learn it, that would be basically inequitable.
Correct.
But
yeah.
I do offer referral fees. And things like that. So, I try to incentivize rather than, penalize, or, if somebody wants to introduce somebody to this material, friends and things like that outside the home, outside of the estate, by all means, join, invite them to these seminars and, invite them to become a member and jump in as a student. That doesn't take away from me, okay? And it would add to your own pocket as well. And again, this course, guys, for the seminar tonight, anybody who signs up before the end of February, excuse me, pardon me, I'll take $500 off of the tuition fee, so it would be $2,000 for this course. For anybody that signs up prior to the end of February. And that'll go toward any course that you decide, other than the one we did Monday, which it's a small course. That one is $500 and not $750. So I took $250 off of that for anybody that's wanting to start off and as a prime, with the primer short course there. That discount also will go till the end of February as well. So on any of the courses that you'd sign up for, other than the primer, you can take a $500 discount off. Just when you go to sign up, click sign up. You sign up, and then you go to check out. There's a tab there to pay offline. Shoot me an email. I'll send you a link so that you can get the discount. And that goes for any courses that are signed up for between now and February. And that's for anybody listening to this, whether you're here live or pick it up afterwards. I'll be putting the recording in this group as well. Did that help you, Monica? I'm sorry. Yeah, if it's your family members, I have no problem with it. You know, your children, you should be teaching your children how to take over someday. If it's a husband, spouse, parents, whatever, you're all part of the same estate. I'm not trying to double charge or anything like that. You know, if you're doing it together, the chances of you following through and getting it done and working together are greater, and I'm all for it.
Okay. I'm just a little confused on because I just wanted to make sure, and I wanted to be an honor. I wouldn't, I was in a group that was like, no, every one of the family members has to, and you can't, they were like, you gotta be on be somewhere else when they're around, and I'm like, that's almost impossible.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And then
I would never expect that. I would never expect that.
Reading it and then sending the email and just a couple of the meetings that you've allowed me to be on, and I appreciate it. I kind of figured that much because, I mean, pretty much the reason why we're here is to put our family,
get your family affairs in order. Absolutely.
Right. And just
absolutely.
But okay. I still am having problems getting into. I'll just email you. I don't want to bother you a lot, but I do have I did have one other question, and I think I just squirreled on it. Oh well.
If it comes back before we hang up, otherwise shoot me an email.
All right, darling, I appreciate it. So I know what it was. So it's the primer course is $500 right now with the discount?
Yes.
Okay. And then each additional, because I saw there, like I wasn't able to get in there to see the courses. Like, I don't know, it might be because you were changing them and they're just not showing up now. I don't know.
You can go on to the online courses page and click on that. Once your membership is upgraded from free to the platinum membership, if you are going to sign up for the free membership so you can get into the site and go looking around and get all through the library and everything, shoot me an email. I'm going to give it to you because I don't have it up on the screen anymore. You go to bulletproofsolutions.org is my website, and is the website, I should say. And my email address is the letter A, FREEMANINBABYLON at Gmail, afreemaninbabylon@gmail.com. Shoot me an email.
I've got that.
Yep. I was giving it out there for anybody listening. That's okay. And just shoot me an email that you signed up to be a free member and just mention the course, and I'll upgrade that to a platinum membership so you have full access to the site till the end of February. And I will honor any discounts for any of the courses that you sign up for the same way. Just, let me know, because the website's not set up to discount the courses. That has to be done outside of the site itself. So that's why I said if you go in and do sign up for a course and you want to take advantage of the discount, sign up. It'll say pay offline and just check out. And then when you do that, send me an email letting me know that you signed up and which seminar you heard. And I'll honor the discount and send you a link to make that payment.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
If you can hear me, I'd just like to know where the AI bot is located. I typed in the chat. It's Tom Derry here. And
Hey, Tom. If you go to the
secondly-
Thursday, yeah, Tom, if you go to the Thursday student group, the Thursday night group, it's in there. There's links to it in there. It's up, I believe it's pinned in there as well. Please, if you are in the Thursday class group, do not share it in this group. This is not the group for that. That is for students only. So, but it is in the Thursday group, which you are already a part of because you're already a student. So, but yeah, you could find the link to that in there, Tom.
I'll put it at the bottom so you don't have to scroll up right now.
Make sure you put it in the proper group, JP.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Comments? All right, guys, I am going to stop the recording. And
Hello?